Hey guys, Drifter here. Today I want to talk about the weird running theme in the Battlefield 1 They Shall Not Pass DLC of tanks versus infantry. And just so you know, this video was sponsored by EA. There's the watermark in the upper right hand corner, the appropriate descriptions down there in the description, disclaimers in the description. I'm doing this at PAX. I'm running on fumes right now. And I was not paid for this, but they did compensate the flights and hotels and everything else. But the Battlefield 1 DLC was, in my personal opinion, very good. It was a welcomed addition to the game. We added new weapons, we added 2 new operations, 4 maps, a couple kits, a lot of new tanks, but it felt kind of like 2 DLCs that had been mashed into one. 2 of the maps, and these 2 get mashed into one operation, are infantry-only maps. The other 2 maps, both of those are in their own operation as well, have a truly absurd amount of tanks, and I'm not sure if this is a purposeful juxtaposition between like the beginning and the end of the war, because the maps do take place at different times, or if it's maybe they were developing something and just kind of put them together. I'm not sure quite what's going on here, but just hear me out and listen about this. There are 2 very close quarter combat and infantry designed maps in this DLC with no vehicles at all in any mode whatsoever. Doesn't matter what mode you're playing, how many people there are, or what's going on. There are just no vehicles in the map. No cars, no motorcycles, no tanks, especially no damn planes or behemoths. It is nothing but 100% infantry and ground pounding. The behemoths, and I would be doing finger air quotes right there in these operations, and these maps, mind you, I do a lot of operations, that's mostly what I'm focusing on, are the specialist kits, the Sentry, the Trench Raider, the Flame Trooper kit, the anti-vehicle kit. Those are your behemoths, and one of those is not as good as a behemoth, but in infantry only they spawn like several of them. So the more you're losing, the more of these kits your team can get. And if you're losing a lot, it can get absolutely nutty. I've seen up to 5 of these things with some multiples. I think we had like 2 Sentry kits, a Flamer, a Trench Raider, and one of the Super Snipers, the anti-vehicle kit running around. And we had a whole bunch of unstoppable killing machines working together, running around killing people, and it was absolutely bananas. I think I enjoy this particular type of chaos because as much as I like vehicles in Battlefield 1, these modes are more fun than you would think. Removing a core gameplay element such as vehicles, but adding a few more weapons and a few more like super soldier kits, and kind of, you keep the player count at 64 but just kind of scrunch the map down a little bit. It works really, really well. It feels kind of, maybe thematically, it's that close range World War I brutality that you think about in your head, like people beating each other to death with clubs and going at it with bolt action rifles and close quarter combats and burning each other. That's what it feels like. In these particular modes, medics and assault characters excel. The medics do a lot of rezzing, a lot of healing, and especially with the new cleanup rifle, it's pretty dope. The assault guys obviously have the advantage with light machine guns. They just hose everybody to death, they get a lot of kills, it works very, very well, and it feels good. Now compare that to the other 2 maps, both of which are again put in their own operation, that just have a metric fudge load of tanks. One team in one operation, the first map, mind you, literally starts with 6 tanks in the spawn. One team in one operation literally starts with 6 tanks in the spawn. These are not limited, these are not like horses, these are not little ground vehicles. These are actual tanks, which can be any kind of tank you want. Any of the tanks that you're familiar with now, from the land ships to the heavy tanks to the light tanks to any of the new French tanks. You get 6 of them just to start out with, on top of airplanes, on top of your regular infantry push, and they've added 3 new non-behemoth tanks. Yes, you've probably all seen the gameplay of the big behemoth tank. They have one that I'm going to call the French Turtle. It's just like the normal French tank. I don't like driving it. I actually kind of like gunning it. I like being the front gunner because I have a front gunner that sees the same thing the driver does, and if you get in that seat because you're seeing the same thing the driver does, you never like getting smushed up against the wall. They have a gas tank, or a gas grenade launching tank, which looked really cool at first. It literally shoots gas grenades out of the cannon, so you can't really hit other tanks with it or blow people up, but you've got 6 gas grenades you can fling all over the map, and you can hit 4 on PC to drop gas all around you. It doesn't kill other tanks, but it can really annoy infantry, especially snipers and medics that rely on the ability to aim down sights. And we also have a flashbang tank. It's very similar to the regular tank, except your ability is you have this spotlight on the top, and you turn it on and like shine it in people's faces and they can't see anything. I guess it's kind of annoying. Neither of these two are particularly useful, but variety and niches are good in any capacity. So at least we have them, right? But defending against this is pure AIDS. There's no other way to say it. The enemy spawns with 6 tanks. There's like 2 heavy tanks, 2 light tanks, and then 2 of these weird French tanks running around doing French things, on top of a couple planes and a horse or whatever. And I couldn't kill them. They just rolled over my objectives. I couldn't defend against anything, but we just couldn't kill 6 tanks at once. The feedback to the developers at the end of this was that this was pretty awful and that we need to tone down the tanks because they respawned almost immediately. You'd kill 1 tank, another tank would be available at the spawn within 10 seconds. We ask all the developers to tone it down. I hope that they do, because we just couldn't kill it. Now, it might have something to do with the fact that we're playing with people like X Factor and the Battlefield Friends and Stat and, you know, Laquan and all these good YouTubers, these non-public morons, these very talented people that know what they're doing in the vehicles and don't die. But this mode was not as fun for me. I just couldn't survive the vehicle onslaught. Even when I was on offense, it wasn't fun because I didn't really do much besides just run in and just tank everybody to death. That definitely needs some improvement, but it's just sort of a strange juxtaposition that we have 2 maps of pure infantry combat and then 2 maps that's essentially pure vehicular combat. Just a sort of odd thing that I noticed, and it's kind of an interesting way to describe how the DLC flows. In any extent, any new operations are welcomed. Plenty of tanks, no tanks, it could be all airplanes for all I care. The operations, the 4 of them that we have gotten a little stale, so adding 2 more is a good improvement in my book. Guys, that's all for this video. I hope that you learned something useful. If you did, don't forget to like, favorite, and subscribe. Drifter out.
Oh.